Right now, as you're watching this video, there's an object 13.8 billion light-years away that's doing something so impossible, so fundamentally wrong according to our understanding of physics, that the world's top astrophysicists are having what can only be described as an existential crisis. This isn't clickbait. This is the James Webb Space Telescope's most disturbing discovery, and it's hiding in plain sight in the most boring patch of space we know. What makes this discovery so terrifying isn't just that it breaks the laws of physics, it's that the patterns it's emitting suggest we might not be alone, and whatever is out there is far more advanced than we ever imagined. The James Webb Space Telescope, humanity's most advanced eye on the cosmos, was not even searching for anything unusual when it made this discovery. In fact, it was looking at one of the quietest corners of the sky, a region astronomers often use for calibration. This patch of space is considered boring, predictable, and reliable, with nothing particularly strange or active happening there. That's exactly why scientists chose it, because its steady cosmic background helps fine-tune Webb's sensitive instruments. But during one of these routine scans, something completely unexpected appeared. Hidden within the dense layers of infrared data was an anomaly, something so strange and so out of place that it instantly stood out. It wasn't a star, it wasn't a planet, and it wasn't a galaxy. Instead, it looked like a shadow, a dark void where there should have been nothing but background light. At first, the team thought it must be an error in the instruments, perhaps a glitch caused by interference or a calibration fault. After all, nothing unusual was supposed to exist in this sector. Yet, when the data was checked and rechecked, the anomaly remained. Not only was it real, but it was stable and consistent across multiple observations. This was the first moment. Scientists realized that Webb had stumbled upon something extraordinary. A mysterious object was lurking in a region of space where no surprises were expected. And what made it even more unsettling was the fact that the deeper they looked, the stranger it became. What Webb had found was not just a flicker of cosmic noise. It was a genuine, massive structure, one that defied all prior expectations. This discovery would set off a chain reaction across the scientific community, pulling in astrophysicists, cosmologists, and even defense agencies, all desperate to answer one question: what exactly had James Webb just uncovered in the quiet darkness of space? When scientists focused Webb's incredible instruments on this strange anomaly, what they saw made no sense at all. The object appeared as a kind of shadow, but not an ordinary one. Around its edges was a shimmering corona of distorted light, as if the very fabric of space was being bent and twisted. Some astronomers described it as a tear in reality itself, a place where the universe seemed to fold in ways no one could predict. Normally, when you see light bending on a cosmic scale, there's a simple explanation: gravity. A black hole, for example, exerts such a powerful gravitational pull that it drags both matter and light into itself, producing phenomena like X-ray emissions, accretion disks, and gravitational lensing. These are the telltale signatures we know and expect. But this object was different. It emitted no X-rays. There was no accretion disk swirling around it. There was no bright flare of radiation. And even stranger, the gravitational lensing, the bending of light from objects behind it, didn't behave the way Einstein's general relativity predicts. Instead of a smooth and orderly curve, the light fractured and wobbled chaotically, as if some unknown anti-gravity force was fighting against the normal rules of physics. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss any updates on the universe's deepest secrets. And if you love exploring hidden mysteries and unexplained discoveries, give this video a like so we know to keep uncovering them. This left scientists baffled. If it wasn't a black hole, and it wasn't a star, and it wasn't a galaxy, then what could it possibly be? Nothing in standard astrophysics could explain such behavior. It was like staring into an optical illusion crafted by the universe, one that deliberately refused to obey the laws of nature. Some even speculated that the anomaly might not be a solid object at all, but rather a scar, an opening in the fabric of space-time. The corona of distorted light seemed to ripple, as though the very geometry of the universe was being stretched and torn at the edges. The more the Webb telescope observed, the clearer it became. This void was not behaving like anything known to science. It didn't absorb, it didn't emit, it didn't radiate in any familiar way. It was silent, it was stable, and yet it had a presence that warped reality itself. For many researchers, this was the most terrifying aspect of the discovery. Because if this thing didn't follow the rules of black holes, stars, or galaxies, then perhaps it was operating on rules we didn't even know existed. And if that was the case, it meant the universe was hiding secrets far stranger and, potentially, more dangerous than anyone had ever imagined. At first glance, the anomaly seemed to resemble a distant galaxy. From afar, its size and faint glow gave the impression of a cluster of stars bound together in a vast cosmic city. Astronomers naturally assumed that this was the case, another faraway island of light in the endless ocean of space. But as James Webb gathered sharper and sharper data, the illusion began to fall apart. Galaxies, whether spiral, elliptical, or irregular, all share certain features. They have spiral arms or central bulges. They contain immense clouds of gas where new stars are born. They are packed with billions of suns, glowing against the dark backdrop of space. But when Webb's infrared vision cut through the shadows, none of these things appeared. There were no spiral arms, no galactic core, no scattered star clusters shining in the darkness. In fact, there were no stars at all. What emerged instead was something far more alien, an immense lattice-like structure, as if the cosmos itself had woven a net of geometry and light. This lattice seemed to fold in on itself, almost like origami, expanding and contracting in ways that defied normal astrophysical behavior. Webb's instruments detected fluctuations in both size and energy. But here's what was truly strange. Despite its constant shifting, the structure remained fixed in place. It didn't drift across the void like galaxies do. It didn't rotate, like a star system. It was locked, almost as if it had been deliberately placed at those precise coordinates. Scientists described it as a cosmic web of impossible scale, like a scaffolding built not from matter, but from something deeper, more fundamental. The patterns it formed were eerily symmetrical, as though some intelligence had engineered it with purpose rather than nature shaping it through chaos. The more the data streamed in, the harder it became to classify. Was it a structure? Was it alive? Was it a ripple of energy somehow frozen into a physical form? Every explanation left behind more questions. The idea that it was simply another galaxy was no longer sustainable. Instead, researchers were confronted with something much more unsettling, the possibility that this colossal lattice wasn't a natural part of the universe at all. If true, then humanity may have just witnessed the first evidence of an artificial construct on a cosmic scale, a structure so vast and so strange that it makes Dyson spheres, those hypothetical star-enclosing machines, seem like children's toys in comparison. And this raised an even darker question. If it truly was built, then who or what built it? And why is it still there, hidden in the calmest region of the night sky? Just when astronomers thought the anomaly could not become stranger, the James Webb Space Telescope detected something truly unsettling: pulses. But these weren't pulses of light, or radio, or any familiar electromagnetic waves. Instead, what Webb recorded were subtle yet rhythmic ripples in the very fabric of space-time itself. At first, the data was confusing. Instruments showed regular fluctuations like a cosmic heartbeat, but nothing matched known signatures of pulsars, quasars, or gravitational waves. These pulses were not coming from collapsing stars or colliding black holes. They were something different, something deliberate. The waves Webb picked up behaved as if reality itself was being pushed and pulled in cycles, bending not only light, but the very geometry of the universe. Imagine dropping a stone into a pond watching concentric circles ripple outward. But here, the pond was space-time itself. Every few seconds, another ripple spread through the void, perfectly timed, perfectly measured. Even more disturbing, these ripples were not just passing through distant space, they were strong enough to brush against Webb's instruments. Engineers noticed slight nudges, microscopic but measurable, affecting the telescope's orientation and sensors. It was as if the object wasn't merely existing in the universe, but was actively interacting with it, shaping the environment around it like a hand pressing against the fabric of a curtain. This realization set off alarm bells across the astrophysics community. If the pulses were artificial, then the structure might not simply be passive. It could be sending out signals, broadcasting across the cosmos in a medium no ordinary civilization could detect, using space-time itself as a carrier. Wave. What made it even more frightening was their stability. Unlike natural cosmic events, which tend to decay, scatter, or shift, these pulses were consistent, steady, and almost intentional. If it was a form of communication, then it was a kind humanity had never encountered before. If it was a form of energy control, then it implied a mastery over physics that dwarfed anything human beings could ever hope to achieve. And yet, Webb's observations made it impossible to dismiss. This was not noise. This was not a glitch. Something was out there, pulsing against the skeleton of the universe itself. Something that seemed less like a random cosmic phenomenon and more like an engineered beacon, an impossible construct, sending ripples through reality, waiting for someone advanced enough to notice. When researchers studied the rhythmic pulses more closely, the mystery deepened. At first, they seemed like simple fluctuation, strange, but perhaps still natural. But once the data was analyzed in detail, a startling pattern emerged. These were not random ripples. The pulses followed a sequence. The spacing between them matched prime numbers: 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, fundamental building blocks of mathematics. At other intervals, the pulses arranged themselves into recursive patterns, repeating fractal-like cycles that grew more complex the deeper they were studied. This was the turning point, because in science, prime sequences and recursive patterns are not things nature produces by accident. They are hallmarks of intelligence, the kinds of signals you might expect from a mind trying to demonstrate that it exists. For decades, SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, has speculated that prime numbers would be one of the clearest universal markers of advanced life. And here they were, not in radio waves, but etched directly into the framework of space-time itself. For some theorists, this was the smoking gun. The anomaly wasn't a natural phenomenon at all. It was engineered, perhaps a megastructure of staggering complexity, something far beyond the hypothetical Dyson spheres once imagined by futurists. A Dyson sphere is a shell built to harness the energy of a single star. But this seemed to manipulate the geometry of the universe itself. Imagine a machine not built to capture light, but to bend reality. A construct capable of reshaping gravitational fields, controlling energy flows across light years, and sending messages using the deepest fabric of physics as its medium. If that is true, then humanity has stumbled upon technology not just centuries ahead, but millions of years beyond our reach. Even the scale suggested intent. The lattice-like structure Webb observed wasn't drifting randomly. It was locked into position, as though anchored to cosmic coordinates for a reason. The pulses, steady and mathematical, seemed less like an accident of physics and more like a message, or perhaps even a test. A signal waiting for a civilization advanced enough to recognize it. But here's the chilling part. If this is a form of communication, then we are not the intended recipient. For us to even detect these pulses required the most powerful telescope ever built, observing at precisely the right time, in what was thought to be one of the most boring patches of sky. Which raises an unsettling question. Who was this really meant for? And have they already answered? The possibility shook even hardened scientists. If this was intelligent, then it was not the kind we're used to imagining. It wasn't broadcasting in radio waves. It wasn't leaving behind signals in starlight. It was speaking through the bones of the cosmos itself, using mathematics as its language and geometry as its voice. And with each new pulse recorded by Webb, the sense of unease grew. Because if something can write on the canvas of space-time, then it isn't simply living in the universe, it is shaping it. And if it can shape it, then what else can it do? Not everyone agrees that the anomaly is artificial. In fact, some of the brightest minds in astrophysics argue that what Webb has seen might be something far stranger, but still natural, though on scales and principles beyond our current understanding. One possibility is that this object is a leftover from the earliest moments of the universe, a kind of fossil imprint from just after the Big Bang. In those first fractions of a second, the laws of physics themselves were still forming. Space was turbulent, matter and energy boiled in unimaginable densities, and the universe was punctuated by violent transition. Perhaps what Webb has uncovered is a scar from that era, a relic from the dawn of time, preserved against all odds. Another explanation involves the concept of domain walls. These are predicted by advanced physics theories, invisible boundaries, separating different regions of space-time where the laws of physics might differ slightly. If such a wall passed near us, it could bend light, distort geometry, and create the lattice-like patterns Webb observed. Could it be that we are seeing the edge of another region of reality, brushing against our own? Others suggest it might be a wormhole, a tunnel connecting distant parts of the universe, or even linking to another universe entirely. If true, the lattice structure could be the visible mouth of that tunnel, held open by forces far beyond our comprehension. That might explain why it appears locked in place, unmoving, as though tethered to a deeper framework of reality. Perhaps the most mind-bending theory, however, is that the structure isn't really in our universe at all, not in the way we think. Instead, it may be something higher dimensional, extruding into our reality the way a three-dimensional object casts a shadow on a flat surface. To us, it looks like a web or a folded lattice because we're only perceiving a fraction of its full form. But in truth, it could be a fragment of a four- or even five-dimensional construct, brushing against our universe like a ghostly outline of something far larger. This idea carries profound implications. If the anomaly is a higher dimensional projection, then our universe may not be the self-contained system we once believed. Instead, it might be embedded in a vast, layered multiverse. Our reality, just one thin sheet in a stack of endless dimensions. And what Webb detected is not an object at all, but a glimpse of the greater architecture outside our cosmic bubble. Still, none of these theories can explain everything. Why the pulses? Why the mathematical sequences? Why the sense of structure and symmetry where chaos should reign? Each natural theory solves part of the puzzle but leaves gaping holes behind. And that is perhaps the most unsettling truth. Whether artificial or natural, dimensional or engineered, this discovery doesn't fit into any box we've built for understanding the universe. It stands at the edge of science, blurring the line between physics and philosophy, between discovery and dread. As the theories multiplied, a darker set of possibilities began to emerge. What if this anomaly isn't just a passive structure or a relic from the birth of the universe? What if it serves a purpose? Some scientists have floated the idea that it might be an anchor of space-time itself, a stabilizing knot in the cosmic fabric, holding back forces we can barely begin to comprehend. If that's true, then disturbing. Observing it too closely, or even acknowledging it, could have unforeseen consequences. The thought that our most advanced telescope might have accidentally tugged at one of the threads holding reality together is enough to send shivers down the spine. Others take the speculation even further. What if the anomaly is not protecting us, but containing something? Imagine a prison, a cosmic lockbox, designed to hold back a force or entity so dangerous that it had to be sealed away from the rest of creation. The lattice-like structure Webb observed, the strange pulses resonating through space-time, they could all be containment mechanisms. If so, then perhaps the reason it had remained hidden in plain sight was because it was never meant to be found. And the terrifying question follows. By observing it, have we weakened the seal? Then there's an even more unsettling hypothesis, that it is a sentinel, a kind of cosmic watchtower, deliberately placed to monitor young civilizations as they rise to technological awareness. Its pulses, with their mathematical sequences, could be probes, testing us, recording us, or perhaps even signaling our presence to something greater. If so, then humanity may not have simply discovered the anomaly. The anomaly may have been waiting for us all along. This idea gained traction when astronomers performed deep archival scans. They searched through decades of old telescope data, cross-referencing observations of the same quiet patch of sky. And to their astonishment, faint traces of the anomaly were already there. Subtle distortion, overlooked for years, hidden in the background noise. The structure had been watching, unmoving, for decades, or perhaps for millennia. It didn't appear suddenly. It didn't arrive. It was always there, waiting. The unsettling implication is that Webb didn't discover the anomaly. It simply reached the level of resolution necessary to finally notice it, like turning on a light in a darkened room, revealing that something had been standing there in silence the whole time. And that brings us to the most chilling possibility of all. What if the anomaly is not simply something we discovered, but something that has discovered us? The pulses began increasing only after Webb's first observation, shifting subtly, as though responding to being seen. If true, then it's no longer a question of whether we've found it, but whether it has just awakened to our presence. In the end, every explanation, whether scientific or speculative, leads to the same terrifying realization. This thing, whatever it is, has been silently embedded in the universe for far longer than humanity has existed. Its purpose remains unknown, its origin a mystery, and its attention, if it has one, unfathomable. And now, for the first time in human history, it knows we are here. One of the most unsettling aspects of the anomaly is its absolute perfection. Unlike stars, galaxies, or even black holes, which evolve, decay, and bleed energy into the universe, this object shows none of those natural signs. It operates with flawless stability, no entropy, no thermal loss, no wasted energy. It simply persists, unchanging, unmoving, eternal. To many scientists, this is the biggest red flag of all. Nature is messy. Stars are born, they burn through their fuel, and they die. Galaxies collide, scatter stars, and rip themselves apart over billions of years. Even black holes, once thought indestructible, slowly evaporate over unimaginable timescales. The universe is governed by imperfection, by entropy, the tendency of all things to unravel into chaos. And yet, here is something that defies that universal law. For as long as we can trace it back in the data, it has remained constant. No growth, no decline, no natural evolution. It behaves less like a cosmic object and more like a machine. Some researchers argue that this very absence of entropy could be the strongest evidence that the anomaly is artificial. Natural systems adapt and change, but engineered systems are designed for a purpose. They can be optimized for efficiency, built to last indefinitely. And what Webb is observing seems more like optimization than randomness, more like design than chaos. Consider the lattice-like geometry recorded in its structure, repeating folds, recursive patterns, perfect symmetries that no random process should produce. Astronomers describe it almost like a piece of architecture, an enormous, precise framework rather than a blob of gas or a cluster of stars. Its consistency is so exact that it can only be compared to equations on paper, not to the messy reality of natural physics. What's more, the pulses it emits show the same perfection. No variation, no noise, no natural fluctuations. Each rhythm is exact, down to fractions of a fraction of a second, as though generated by a clockwork mechanism beyond comprehension. In the natural world, signals always degrade. They weaken, bend, or scatter with distance. But these pulses, they remain intact, undistorted, carrying with them a sharpness that suggests they were engineered to be unmissable. This flawless stability makes the anomaly even more disturbing. If it is natural, then it rewrites everything we know about the universe, challenging the very principle of entropy. But if it is artificial, then it means someone, or something, built it, and not just recently. It has been operating, without decay, for longer than human civilization has existed, perhaps longer than Earth itself has existed. Some theorists take this to its logical extreme. What if the anomaly is not just a structure within the universe, but a fundamental part of it? A hidden mechanism woven into the cosmic fabric to maintain balance, like a gear inside the machinery of reality. If so, then it's not just stable, it's essential. But that leads to an even more disturbing question. Essential to what? To maintaining the universe as we know it? To preserving life? Or to serving a purpose we can't even begin to imagine? Perfection, in this case, is not comforting. It is terrifying, because perfection does not belong to nature. It belongs to intention. And if intention exists behind this thing, then humanity may have just stumbled into the awareness of a presence far older, far greater, and far more deliberate than we can possibly comprehend. As scientists delved deeper into the anomaly, a startling possibility emerged. This object might not be alone. While Webb's initial observations focused on a single, isolated patch of sky, follow-up studies and archival analyses revealed faint echoes, subtle distortions, tiny ripples in space-time, scattered across distant regions. At first, these traces were dismissed as noise or instrumental error. But as more data was collected, patterns began to emerge. These secondary anomalies shared key characteristics with the original object: similar lattice-like structures, rhythmic pulses, and that same impossible stability. They weren't identical, but the similarities were too precise to be coincidental. If indeed these findings hold true, the implications are staggering. Rather than a single, inexplicable object, we might be looking at a network of constructs, a hidden infrastructure woven into the cosmos. Like nodes in an unseen grid, these anomalies could be connected through mechanisms beyond our current understanding of physics. Non-local links, allowing them to interact across unimaginable distances. Some theorists have begun calling it a meta-web, structure not confined to one galaxy or even one universe, but potentially spanning multiple sectors of the cosmos. Each node could serve a function: monitoring, stabilizing, or communicating. The patterns of pulses recorded by Webb could be just one part of a vast interlinked system, functioning in perfect coordination without any apparent energy loss. This raises profound questions. If these objects are part of a network, who or what created it? And why? Was it designed to maintain cosmic order, like the unseen scaffolding of reality itself? Or could it be a sentinel system, observing emergent civilizations, cataloging their progress, and perhaps even influencing development in ways we cannot perceive? The possibility that this anomaly is a node in a much larger cosmic web transforms our understanding of the universe. It shifts the scale from a single mysterious object to a vast, deliberate pattern, something that could redefine our place in the cosmos. Humanity may have been observing only one small fragment of a network that stretches across light years, or even across the boundaries of our known universe. Even more chilling, if the network is active and responsive, than any attempt to study. One node might trigger subtle reactions across the entire system. Webb's observation could have already set off echoes in other nodes, changes that are imperceptible to us, but meaningful on a cosmic scale. The realization is both awe-inspiring and terrifying. We are not simply looking at a mystery in space. we may be witnessing evidence of a hidden architecture, a level of design and foresight that dwarfs any human achievement. The universe, it seems, may be far more structured, more deliberate, and more alive than we ever imagined. And the deeper we look, the more we must ask ourselves, if this network exists, are we merely observers? Or have we just become part of its design? As the EE data continues to pour in, the implications of the anomaly are no longer just scientific, they are existential. Humanity is being forced to confront questions that were once firmly in the realm of philosophy and speculation. Are we truly alone? Or is something far older, far more intelligent, watching us from the fabric of the universe itself? The anomaly challenges our most fundamental assumptions. The universe has always seemed random, chaotic, and governed by physical laws that we can observe and measure. And yet, here is something that operates with precision, stability, and purpose. Could it be that the universe itself is evolving not only through natural processes, but through an intelligent design or informational system? Could every star, galaxy, and pulse be part of a network encoding knowledge, monitoring life, or testing civilizations like ours? Governments and scientific institutions around the world are now watching closely. Webb's discovery has triggered an unprecedented wave of attention. Every observation is scrutinized, every pulse is analyzed. The object's behavior could be nothing, or it could be everything. A form of advanced surveillance, a window into higher dimensional spaces, or even the first detectable signs of a cosmic phase transition, a profound shift in reality itself. Philosophers and physicists alike are grappling with the consequences. If the anomaly is intelligent or deliberate, then humanity may have stumbled upon the first tangible evidence that consciousness or purpose exists at the cosmic scale. And if it is natural, its properties are so extraordinary that they defy every law we thought was fundamental. In either case, our understanding of the universe is changing faster than ever before. The thought is chilling. This object, or network of objects, could reshape everything we know about existence. It might have observed Earth long before we even existed. It could be waiting for humanity to reach a certain threshold before interacting, or it might already be interacting in ways we cannot yet perceive. And so, as telescopes continue to monitor and as pulses ripple across space-time, we are left with a profound and unnerving realization. The universe may be far stranger, far more deliberate, and far more intelligent than humanity has ever dared to imagine. The anomaly is not just a discovery, it is a mirror, reflecting the limits of human understanding back at us, daring us to expand our minds, our science, and perhaps even our very concept of reality. In the end, we are confronted with a stark choice: to continue observing and learning, risking the unknown consequences of contact with something greater, or to retreat into ignorance, hoping the universe will remain silent. Either way, one thing is certain: the James Webb Space Telescope has shown us that the cosmos is alive with secrets, and humanity has only just begun to witness them. As we step back from the data, the anomaly remains an enigma, a reminder that the universe is far vaster, stranger, and more intricate than we can ever imagine. Each pulse, each lattice, each ripple in space-time hints at forces and intelligence beyond our comprehension. We are left with questions that may never be answered. Are we being observed by something ancient and deliberate? Is this a natural marvel, or the product of a cosmic intelligence? Could the universe itself be a network of hidden mechanisms, with humanity only now beginning to perceive a fragment of its design? One thing is certain: the James Webb Space Telescope has opened a door to mysteries that challenge everything we thought we knew about reality. And while the answers may be distant, or even unreachable, the act of searching reminds us of humanity's greatest strength: our insatiable curiosity, our drive to explore, and our willingness to confront the unknown. So, as we continue to scan the stars and analyze the echoes across the cosmos, we must ask ourselves, Are we simply observers in a vast, unknowable universe? Or are we stepping into a story that has been unfolding long before we existed? A story in which we may one day play a part. If you found this journey through hidden science, cosmic secrets, and potential alien infrastructure as mind-blowing as we did, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Don't miss future explorations into the universe's deepest mysteries, because some secrets are just waiting to be uncovered.